Hey, what's up? This is Laidback Luke, DJ and producer, Kung Fu athlete, and dedicated dad. And this week, without a hat. How about that? I recently went to the hairdresser and I was just really feeling today. It's right before the weekend to see how my new haircut is. Usually I'm too lazy to do my hair, so I'll usually wear a hat. But today I'm not Lazyback Luke. Today I'm gonna tell you all about panning. But before I go into that, so happy you guys enjoyed the vlog of last week on how I survived Ultra. Yes, I saw all your comments come by about when to post my Ultra set up. It is up. Make sure to check the link below. Shout out to Eddie Molina and Strongman Eddie Hall for the number 1 and number 2 comments of last week. Strongman Eddie Hall, I answered on my Twitter, so if you have any question, make sure you can leave them in the comments, obviously, but reach out to me on Twitter as well. It's @LaidbackLuke. My Twitter is basically my WhatsApp to the world. Totally unrelated, but did you know my new video came out today? Through Men's Health USA, my collaboration with Steve Aoki and Bruce Buffer, our new track, which is called It's Time. The video looks amazing and make sure to click on that after you see this. And I'm back here in Vegas, back here for the new season. Las Vegas, technically the Disneyland for grown-ups. This year I'm at Marquee. I played there last night. It was incredible. Such good times at Marquee, and this is basically a spot that's perfect to play house music. The people that know about dance music come to this place. It was really good, I must say. Well, the people at Marquee are treating me super well here. I am in a huge hotel room, which is amazing, but there's something more amazing, and which is actually the view right here. Look at this. Stepping outside on the balcony, and look, it's Vegas right here. Pretty much all of it. A huge balcony. I could actually like walk here and then go all the way over there, and I could basically run laps on my balcony and stay #LaidbackLukeFit. But this vlog isn't about that. So I'm going to talk to you about panning today. Relatively simple and relatively easy. I'm surprised there's not more online about it, and the rules may vary, and technically there are no rules, but this is generally how I tackle it. First of all, I'm going to talk to you about frequency ranges, which for the ease of it I'll divide in 3 ranges: the low end, the mid range, and the high end. And so for the low end, I'll take you back to the vinyl days. Technically with the low end it holds so much frequencies, the waves are actually bigger, that when you used to press music on vinyl, you would need to take care of that the low-end signal wasn't stereo, because it would just take up too much volume and too much of the needle going back and forth inside of the groove. The elements that hold the low end in a track are kick drums, bass lines, certain low-end percussion, that sort of thing. And so, but the general rule with low end is to keep the low end mono, so strictly in the middle. Don't do anything fancy with it, so no kick drums on the left and no bass lines on the right, or panning a bass line in stereo. Usually I'd say I'd go up to 160 hertz to cut off the stereo image in the low end. Within this though, take care that you don't cut off the 160 hertz on the master. I mean, you can do that, by all means you can do that, but if you do it on the master, you'll lose some type of like a special feel. Sometimes certain things need to be rumbling in the background a little bit. Now the mid-range is wild. There is where the magic happens. Within the mid-range you can go as wide as you want. everything in the mid-range can be wide. So basically, synths, vocals, percussion, leads, anything pad related, anything that's in that mid-frequency range can go wide. You can go wild on the panning. You can have for instance, your lead, you can have the one layer all the way over here, and then you can pan the one layer all the way over there, so that, you'll really have that stereo witness. But within that, it's really good to keep in mind that contrast often works better for you instead of just panning everything super wide or making everything stereo wide. Now the high-end frequencies is something else. Basically, what I always keep in mind with high-end frequencies, so these are hi-hats, rides, crashes, certain effects. I usually keep a drum kit in mind, so where you could just imagine yourself sitting behind an actual drum kit and try and imagine where the snare drum sits, where the hi-hat sits, where the crash sits. So within hi-hats and rides and that sort of thing, you can actually imagine you don't even need to go that wide with the high-end frequencies. Generally, you can have the hi-hats right in the middle, but sometimes I'll have the open hi-hat there and the closed hi-hat there, and sometimes I'll have a crash more there, and sometimes I'll have the snare here. But the way I do it is to moderately pan any high element I have in a song. And just coming back to the mid-frequencies though, so imagine a piano sitting behind like a real piano with the lid that goes open. Sometimes with piano plugins, you'll notice that they're panned this way, where if you play like the bass notes, it sounds like it's over here, and if you play the high notes, it sounds like it's over to that side. And in that sense, sometimes you can imagine how to pan properly. But even with vocals and synths as well, like if you were in a room and someone would be playing the piano or a guitar and someone would be singing, how would they be positioned? So everything I said just now basically applies on the individual channels of your production. A big method often used is to actually adjust the stereo image on the master, which is absolutely fine, and which is something I do as well with the Isotopy Ozone Imager. Within this plugin, it's basically a safe method to make your tracks as wide as you want to, but there are certain things that you'll need to keep in mind. What's generally really important is to keep an eye on the vector scope, where I have it on the polar sample, and whenever I see the signal, I just make sure that the signal stays in the +1 realm. If you're in the -1 realm, then you can have phasing problems. Phasing problems generally mean the cancellation of the signal whenever the signal is turned from stereo to mono. I don't know if you ever had this, but in the past I had occasions where I finished an amazing track, sounded really fat. I came into the club and all of a sudden I couldn't hear my kick drum or bass line anymore. Or even a big volume change in certain elements when turning from stereo to mono. This is why I often produce in mono, and I'll just put my track in stereo all the way up until the end. And within the individual channels, you can actually fix phasing problems where you just put a mono plugin on the channel, and afterwards you can put a stereo imager, which, like the Isotopy, is very reliable, which sounds the same whenever you switch it back into mono. And so within the imager, you can see you have certain bands you can adjust and alter the stereo image in. Always keep those rules in mind. Low end, go in the middle or very moderate. You can go super wide in band 2 and 3, and just go moderate in band 4 as well, and then you'll always be good. And yeah, so I briefly spoke about going into the club and then the track sounded way different. This is because most club systems have their signal output in mono. This all has to do with the room and the acoustics and phasing problems within a room. So to be very safe, in most clubs, they'll often just use the mono signal. Just a very small add-on to this vlog, you can use panning for some stereo movement as well, and which is often fun. Sometimes I have short samples or a paddy thing going on in the background, and I'll use an auto pan to make it go from left to right to give it some movement. And this is totally allowed because it's usual mid frequencies. But within that, you can sometimes play with panning as well. I would absolutely dare to say that panning gives life to your track, and if you know how to properly pan, or if you play with it and find out what works for you, this will definitely benefit your track. And so I hope this helped you. If it did, make sure to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button right now. I am back next week with some more info for you. I will be doing shows in LA and San Francisco at the same time as well, so make sure you tune back in. Until then, L's up, rave safely, and salute.